Hello, friends. It is finally time. We are here for the very first episode of Rebrand Your Brain, and I'm so glad that you are with me. I'm Michelle Rebel, business strategist and coach, co-creator for heart-centered, women-led brands, here to help you see your genius, own it, and build a business around it. Today's episode is personal. I'll be sharing the real story behind why I waited so long to launch this podcast. There is a story there, the fear, the perfectionism, the paralysis, and how I have finally broken through. And, take that with a grain of salt, because really I'm in the process of breaking through just by being here with you. So if you have ever held yourself back from being seen or felt like you maybe forgot who you are, this is for you. Before we dive in though, I want to share a little bit about what this podcast is, why I created it, and what you can expect moving forward. So this show is for people, especially women, who want to create a business and a brand online that gives them freedom and fulfillment, that allows them to own something that they're really proud of. And what this really means for me is it's about empowering women to reclaim their voices and to be seen. It's about the freedom to choose what you want to create and do in this phase of your life, because God knows what's going to happen in 5 years, right? And doing it smartly, because when you build your business around your genius, your gifts, your purpose, and your calling, you will succeed, because that's soul alignment. But it is not this easy linear path. I believe the work that you do can be a vehicle for growth and expansion for you and for those you're meant to serve. And this means it's not really meant to be an easy ride, right? Anything that, whenever you say growth and expansion, you can expect some tests, some challenges, some hard things to come up. That's the beauty of it, right? And that's really what we're here to work through. So here's why I named it Rebrand Your Brain. Because the work of showing up, being seen, and building something that's soul aligned is not just about strategy, and there are so many challenges that come with it. It is about healing, it's about deconditioning, it's about discovering who you are underneath all the layers of who you were told to be. And this takes unlearning the old stories and rewiring your beliefs while you're building the thing, right? You are, how is it that you're building the engine while you're driving the bus? So while you're showing up, while you're taking messy, brave, imperfect action, that's when all of these changes are happening. So the podcast really, my vision for it is that it's about that journey. This is real, it's raw, it's powerful work of creating a business and life that actually feels like you. And I don't even know if that's the way that I want to say it. I just want to say that it feels right versus what because you're here, feels wrong. So that's going to be different for you than it is for somebody else, which is why I'm saying it like that. My vision is that this helps you to stop dimming your light and playing small, to help you try less and be more, to stop following what everyone else is doing and doing you instead. So let's dive in. I've sat on this thing for a long while. If you know me, if you followed me, I mean, I'm honestly surprised you're still there, because it's been a while that I've been holding on to this and sort of teasing that I'm going to let this podcast out, and I haven't. So it's gotten to the point right now where it just feels like I'm stifling my voice, keeping quiet when there is really just so much that I need to express in one way or another. But here's the thing: when we silence what wants to come out of us, come through us, right? Those expressions don't just disappear. They get buried, and buried things do not stay dormant. They change form. They become frustration. They become bitterness. They become disappointment, that resentment that you can't quite name. It's sort of like when I took my daughter to therapy when she was around 6, and some things were going on in our family that were causing her distress. But what she learned is this idea that when you hold in your emotions or your thoughts, right? It's almost like this big balloon is blowing up inside of you. And if you don't have a way of releasing that, it's going to pop. This is the same. It's if we can't express ourselves, if we can't be seen and heard doing our genius work that we know that we're here to do, or even that we don't yet know what it is that we're here to do, if we can't express, then something inside of us kind of dies a little bit in one way or another. So I realized this is not who I want to be. Person who's let self-doubt just talk her out of expressing herself and sharing her truth. That's not what I'm here for. That's not what you're here for. So here I am. And experimenting is one of the things that I do best in my business and in life, which is not such a great thing sometimes, but it also is, depending how you look at it. But it means I fail a lot, which is why it's not so great. And if I let that stop me, then I'll never learn what I need to learn here. And I'll never share what just might help you, even in some tiny way, which I hope that it will. But, the timing has to be right. And when we force things, it doesn't work. And it depends who we are. For some of us, we go fast. For some of us, we need time to process. It's really comes down to knowing who you are, and which I'll talk more about. And I had to go through what I have gone through in order to get here. I had to put this off as much as I did in order to get here, right? What's the lesson in all of this is sort of how we have to wake up and look at life and our business, because our business is here to teach us everything. There comes a point when you just have to say, though, now has to be the right time. Like right now, honestly, my life is messy. There's a lot of commotion. There's disarray because you're the first to hear this. I've not shared this, but we are planning to move. I say planning to move because you know what? We're sort of in that decision-making phase right now. And we may be either renting the house out or selling it. And this is a house that has our heart and souls in it because we built this house from the ground up, and it was meant for family and connection and kids. And now, the kids are grown up, and there's just a lot of moving pieces right now, and there's a lot of unknowns. But you know what? Here I am, because honestly, there will always be something. There will always be something that's going to come in and stop us from doing the thing that we know we're supposed to do, that we know in our hearts, not because someone else is telling us, but that we know in our heart and soul we're supposed to do. So it's wild, isn't it? How we create our own obstacles when we're either not ready, or we're focusing on the blocks, or, a little bit of self-sabotage comes into play there. And weird, like tech becomes harder. Everything becomes harder. Literally, my executive functioning will stop working, it seems like, when I'm finding ways to get myself out of showing up to be seen. So one of the reasons I'm going to tell you is not to hold back on what we want to share is this. So have you ever sat on an idea for weeks, like maybe even months, maybe years, like me, and then suddenly someone else puts it out there? Like they launch the program, they use the name that you had, that brilliant name. They say the things that you've been sitting on, and you're left thinking like, what the hell? This was my idea. But the thing is, it really wasn't, right? Because you don't actually own that idea. So when I think about this, I like to look through the lens of quantum manifestation and, roll your eyes if you need to at that. But I think my audience kind of is pretty much down with that sort of stuff. But what I've learned from mentors and teachers like Joe Dispenza, Hiro Boga, Dr. Curry Parker, these ideas have come from the quantum field. And the quantum field is this infinite field of possibility. It's creativity, it's potential. It's like our potential is there. And it's where these ideas and inspiration live before landing into your conscious awareness. And these things that we create don't come from us. They come through us. So when we have these ideas, we're tuning into something's essence that's already in existence in that field. And then we're kind of pulling it into our earthly reality, or we don't, because we sit on it and we don't take action. And so there it is, kind of floating around, but you've kind of pulled it closer to the earthly reality. So when you get that flash of brilliance, that name, a phrase, the concept, it's because you have actually become an energetic match for it. And you're aligned with it. You're kind of attuned to it. But if you don't act on it, if you hold back, if you overthink it, if you let fear or perfectionism or not enoughness or trauma, all the stuff that comes up, stop you, that idea essentially is going to find someone else who is available, someone who's willing to say it out loud, someone who's willing to launch it before it's perfect, to be visible even when it's messy and so imperfect. The question is, will you be the one to bring it into form? And that's one of the reasons that, I'm finally recording this. I don't have all of the answers, but I am showing up anyway because that's the work, isn't it? And I would like to give you the real behind the scenes fear that's come up around this for me. But first, let me ask you a question. What is something that you've been wanting to do for a long time? Like really, really wanted to do? Maybe it's a big pivot in your business, a new offer. Maybe you're starting your business for the first time. Maybe you have your coaching certification and you're ready to go and you don't know what the heck to do. Maybe you're writing a book, leaving a job, starting a YouTube channel, whatever it is, right? Maybe like me, it's starting a podcast. So how long has this been on your list? Isn't it funny how life keeps getting in the way? There's always something, but what I've learned is that you, me, we're all the ones who are creating the obstacles, because you absolutely can do the thing, I believe 100%, that you want to do. You even get revved up about it. You start the creation process. And if you're anything like me, you usually get distracted or you let yourself get distracted. And why is that? Well, it's fear. And I believe it's the fear of being seen, of failing, of being judged, of messing it all up, of making a fool of yourself, of getting laughed at, right? Your ego can take over. And when that happens, that's when you're just really no longer in control. And guys, the thing is that being in the arena is hard. Being seen is hard, but it's something that we not only have to do for our business, but because we have a message to share. We know whether or not you know what your true purpose is yet, you're here to do something and share some message. But when you decide, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, by the way, which said never any single one of my clients, because it sort of took them by surprise. But when you do decide that, the point is you have to be seen in some way. Now, this is not going to be the same for everyone. I talk about this a lot, and we're going to talk more about that in these episodes, because the whole point is we do things in a way that's aligned for us. So just remember that. But in my case, let's say with this podcast as an example, something that feels very meaningful to me. Every time that I'd say, okay, this is the week to hit go. And I have this, I've had it for so long, ready to go and ready to, start recording. I would literally freeze. And like I mentioned before, in moments like this, like tasks became very overwhelming. Tech suddenly was like out the window. Suddenly, like my brain just couldn't do it, which is weird because I do a lot with tech. And what was happening is that this perfectionism was really taking over, really kicking in. So, what actually caused me to freeze? Well, for one, I know that this is one of the ways that unresolved trauma can play into our business. Putting yourself out there can feel extremely vulnerable and trigger that fight or flight response, even when you don't have unresolved trauma, that gets triggered. In my case, though, what was going on is there was grief. I was going through grief, burnout, and this pressure of feeling like I had to lead and run my business a certain way, which I would soon discover is not the most aligned way for me. And so I found myself shutting down a lot. And here are the things that were going on, most of which I think had to do with my own life cycle, where I was basically in my life based on my age. And so, first of all, losing my parents. So, I lost my dad in 2021 and then my mom in 2023. These are three heavy years. You know, also, by the way, menopause was happening at that time. So, that adds a whole new element to it. But when that happened, losing my parents, something in me just kind of went quiet. There was so much that I had not processed, a lot of trauma, actually, in my case, and it started sort of leaking into everything. My work, relationships, my creativity, everything got affected by that. And the other thing is empty nest. You know, my kids were finally gone and off and doing their things, and I'm not going to get too into that, but that's been hard for me. It's a whole identity shift happens during that time. And so I was going through that. And third, I really just kept pushing through. You know, like I mentioned, I was following someone else's formula for success, which is work harder, not give myself what I needed, and not work in the way that aligns for me. I was over delivering. I was people pleasing. I was just sort of just plowing through. And eventually it all caught up with me. And I did experience a lot of burnout. And then I just started to doubt everything. Like I no longer trusted that I could actually do what I wanted. You know, the thing that I tell people, you can absolutely 100% do what you want. Just have to know what it is. And then we work out the rest. But the integrity gets questioned, right? When I can't even figure that out for myself. And that's sort of what I was going through. And then there's paralysis that comes in when I could no longer trust that I could actually do what I wanted, this sense of paralysis. And I can honestly say that I forgot what I was great at and I forgot what I loved doing. And the way in which I liked working, because I was working in ways that were not aligned, but in a lot of ways they were aligned for me. And there were things that I did love doing. There were elements of the work that I was doing that I absolutely adored and that just gave me energy. But I forgot what that was. It seems like everything sort of went out the window. And so one of the things that I did was delve into human design, which helped me to really understand what was going on and how to align my business with my design. So last year, while I was essentially trying to get myself back together, feels like Humpty Dumpty, I asked one of my human design coaches, how do I come back? And she gave me an amazing response, and it was something along the lines of this: the longer that you hold still and push down the urge to express yourself because you're afraid of what people will say, or you're just not clear, the worse the fear becomes, and the more atrophy sets in. So I absolutely love the analogy to the body. Just like your body and muscles are going to weaken from lying still too long in a bed. This was all what she was sharing with me, and my mind was just expanding. While all of this is sort of still, your voice, your confidence, your creative energy, they all start to weaken if you don't use them in the very same way. And so that's when I had to ask myself this hard question. Who are you? What's true for you now? What is your authentic nature? Who are you here to be? And these are questions that I also turn to you. These are the most important questions, and we can't just answer them once in our lives and be done because we change and we grow and we evolve. And we have to continue asking ourselves these questions because they will change. So I dove into human design, and it gave me a language for what I've always known deep down, but I hadn't fully owned. Now, I knew human design had to be a part of what I bring here. So I've been exploring it deeply behind the scenes and still am. In fact, I got so into this, I got certified level 2 quantum human design because I just felt like I needed to know this because it had so much to do with how I help women. So anyway, I got the certification. And by the way, I'll tell you more about this towards the end of the episode. I do have a free, very cool human design report that you can grab, which is about how to find your entrepreneurial type. And it's a really good Kickstarter for business and visibility. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that, or you can look in the show links and grab that. But here's what I discovered about myself in this journey. I was not honoring my value. I was saying yes when I meant to say no. And believe me, when you say yes to everyone, here's a good reframe. Think about it as, okay, but you're saying no to yourself instead. So flip that and see what happens. Anyway, I was stretching myself too thin, trying to follow all the rules, even though my whole thing is you don't have to follow the rules. Trying to be someone I'm not and trying to be everything to everyone. And honestly, you guys, I got tired of talking about the same things. Also, like it was all about, it was very masculine in the way that I felt I was teaching. But now I also understand why I did get tired of talking about the same things over and over again. And it's because I'm not designed to teach the same topic over and over. And thanks to human design, I know that I get to follow my curiosity to talk about branding and marketing. Yes. Visibility. Yes. But also, the fear, the vulnerability, creativity, psychology, identity, which is huge for me, and even human design and beyond that. Now, I just side note, when I talk about human design here, and I have brought elements of that into the business, but I want to say human design is not the answer to everything. I do not believe. And so the idea is not to put someone in a box or to say, this is going to give you all the answers for your business, body, soul, all of that. I don't believe that. This is why it's about taking a holistic approach to all of this, because there's a lot of things that we bring into this mix. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I also discovered, though, what I'm here to do. And honestly, that is a constant deep dive for me that continues unfolding. But knowing and believing in my genius feels very empowering. I've always believed and said there are no rules. We're the ones giving ourselves the rules, and we get to change them. Human design reaffirmed this for me. And also that it's very aligned for me to talk about these topics on my platforms. It was like giving me the okay. I have always taken a holistic approach to business because I believe you can't do business in a bubble. Life, relationships, health, loss, grief, change, emptiness, all of these things, right, affect how we show up. And all of it is worth talking about. This is the exploration. And I'll be real, I kept retreating into the safe zone, even when I knew it was time to come back. And when that time does come, let me tell you, it is harder. The coming back after you've been away, is hard because when you've been quiet for so long, you forget. You forget what you're great at. You forget what lights you up. And that's exactly what happened to me. So, what did I do? Well, one, delving into human design was huge. And then, you have to take action steps to come back. And so I did what I always do when I'm stuck. I went and looked for the evidence. And I literally dug through old videos, through like boot camps I had done, live streams, masterminds, and I watched myself. And here's what surprised me is that I didn't cringe at watching myself. I didn't nitpick. I remembered. I started to remember. I saw myself again from a different perspective. And I realized that I do bring value. Now, part of this is really important to understand is that it's a timing thing. Like I needed to take that time. I needed to go through all of this. I needed to come back in this way. The timing is such an important part of this. So that was the first thing that I did is really looking for that evidence. Like what did I used to do? How did that go? Reassessing really. And then I asked myself, what do I miss about that? There are definitely things that I did not like about it, but what do I miss? And what it came down to was teaching. It came down to connecting, communicating, and really this community, this beautiful community of women that I was building. What don't I miss? Well, I don't miss week-long launches, like 9-day launches. And and by that, I mean, in the way that I was doing them, which was using someone else's strategy, which is a great strategy, but it didn't align for me. It was very much of a generator strategy, if we talk about it from a human design perspective, not a projector strategy, which is, I'm a projector. Anyway, I digress. I'm not saying I'll never do a launch again, but I am saying I'll never do it in that way. And I'm definitely not forcing it. And there's no rush there for me. And also during this time when I was pretty much laying low, I was still doing my experimenting and really just exploring different ways of working to see what really aligned for me. What ended up happening is I created a different vertical for the business, an additional vertical for the business, which is helping women create an amazing website. So kind of build the machine so that you don't have to be the machine. And what this turned into was kind of magical because it's a hybrid sort of program because these women don't exactly know their complete identity, their genius, what they're here to bring and how to message it. So it is a blend of the coaching and leading a woman through this process and also building an incredible website. So anyway, that's officially part of the business now. But let's continue with the coming back. So when it comes to the actual coming back, how do you do that? After you've put something off for so long, maybe you've experienced this, maybe you are experiencing this right now. Maybe you've disappeared for a while. Maybe you feel like you've kind of been hiding out. How do you come back? Because it's very challenging. So this is about doing the thing that you've been putting off, even though you know your soul wants this, right? So you know what? You breathe. You breathe, you start, and you do it imperfectly. And sometimes you do have to wait for your right timing, that right wave of emotion, that moment your gut says, yes, now go. And then you begin. Even if it's messy, even if you're scared, even if you're not fully ready, because waiting for perfection is truly a trap. And I speak from personal experience. And still, there's a balance here, right? You don't bulldoze your way through it. You want to give yourself space, compassion, forgiveness, allowance. You kind of need to loosen the timeline. Again, no rules. Because the thing is, pressure, I don't think this is just me. Pressure doesn't work for most of us. And it doesn't create clarity. It creates panic. It creates chaos. It sends your nervous system into overdrive. And this is not about the masculine pushing harder. We're not in that always having to be in that yang space, right? Yin and yang. can't always be in that yang space. This is about feeling into it with your heart, very feminine space, and not your head. So ask yourself, are you being true to you? What do you need in order to be true to yourself? For me, this meant letting go of the idea that I have to move fast or in the same way as everyone else, because I'm just not like everyone else. It's been proven now. But allowing myself to be spontaneous, allowing myself to be aligned, balancing that yin and yang, though, means all of that, but you have to take action. So that's the key, is balancing that. I'm not going to do fast with action. And so that's aligned action, and it's rooted in inner truth, and it's not about external pressure. So if you're experiencing any of this, think about that dream that you have, that vision you have, even if it's not perfectly clear, but start to clarify it. What is that for you? And what's just one step you can take toward it? One step. I had a coach who used to say, what's the one domino that's going to knock down all the others? And I actually really loved this saying, because it doesn't, it just clarifies it for me. It doesn't have to be the hardest thing. It doesn't have to be this big 5-day launch or some massive production. You don't have to go and complicate everything. It can be just the honest thing, the heart thing. It can be the step that reconnects you to yourself. So I'll ask again, what is in your heart? What would feel so good for you to bring forward? What would make you happy? Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours and you're fulfilling something through this. For me, this podcast is that step. So what would that be for you? And to start kind of wrapping this up, just a reminder first, those who aren't in the arena don't get to judge us, as Brene Brown would say. They don't know how much vulnerability this takes, how scary it can feel to actually speak your truth, to show up, to be seen, to put yourself in that spotlight, to stop dimming your light. But because you're here, you feel the call. So I'm going to leave you with this. Ask yourself these questions. What gift are you here to bring the universe? If you don't know yet, if you feel lost, paralyzed, overwhelmed, or like you've been hiding out, then it is time to take action, but not any kind of action, your kind of action in your way. One step, one breath, one moment of courage. Don't let the atrophy set in. It makes everything so much more difficult. Listen, your voice matters. Your message matters. And your soul wants more. If you're here, I'm guessing your soul wants more. So here's a few questions that I think if you are in a place where you can stop and write these down, journal about them, or even if you're walking, I'm often walking and listening to podcasts, and I'll just pause it so I can actually process and answer questions as I'm going through. So you might want to consider doing that. But here it is. What is in your heart? How can you bring that forward? What would feel good, meaningful, and alive for you? You don't have to do it all. You just have to take the next right step, your own aligned step, because here's the truth. You're here for a reason. You're here to create, to express, to lead, to heal, to serve, whatever that is for you. You're here to bring something only you can bring. So I'll ask you one final question. 10 years from now, what happens if you stay frozen? If you let fear keep running the show? And then what happens if you just take one step? That's where the transformation lives. That's where your voice comes back. That's where you remember who you are. So what is that step for you? And if you don't know, just reach out. I love hearing from you guys. And I have a variety of sessions you can take advantage of. We can hop on a 60-minute strategy call or 3-session strategy pack. We'll get you clear on all of this. So feel free to email me, send me a DM. That will all be in the show notes for you. But this is what I have for you today. and I trust that this gave you something that you needed. I believe in you. You can do this. And I am so immensely grateful that you're here with me for this and for this journey and for this first episode ever. Thank you. It means the world to me. Thanks again for listening. I'm your host, Michelle Rebel, here to help women see their genius, own it, and build a business around it. I hope this episode sparked something for you. If it did, don't forget to hit subscribe and please consider leaving a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps more people to find the show. Plus, I'm going to pick a winner each month for a one-on-one with me. So to do this, you can go to Apple Podcasts, to my show, scroll to the section where it says write a review, write your review, take a screenshot, and send it to me at michelle@michellerebel.com or DM me on my socials. On Instagram, I'm at michelle.rebel, or on Facebook, it's Michelle Rebel Coaching. Again, I'm going to pick a winner at the end of each month to do a one-on-one with me. I also want to let you know that the Boss 3-month membership program is now open. Well, the waiting list is open. We kick off in September. If you are craving high touch support, momentum, and the space to figure out what the heck you're doing and how you're growing your visibility, how you're showing up in a way that's in total alignment with who you are, this is for you. The Boss Mastermind is a 3-month brand and business accelerator. It's for coaches, practitioners, healers, creatives. You know who you are. You're my people, heart-centered entrepreneurs who are ready to stop figuring it out all alone, not be able to bounce things off of somebody who knows and has the experience, looking for, community so that you can also do this in community. Solitude and isolation is our breaking point. So this is how to get us into community together and get you the help that you need. It will breathe absolute new life into your business, and you'll finally be seen in a way that makes you magnetic. This is such a great program. I've made it 3 months. Originally, it was a 6 to 8 week program, and I found we need to go deeper and give people more time and space, right? This isn't just about here are the 4 modules, go do them. We meet every week. There's a whole description of what this is. I'm going to make sure you have the link to the landing page where you can get on the waiting list. I'll give you all the information. But what it is, guys, there are 4 things that we focus on. So BOSS is an acronym for brand, offer, strategy, and soul aligned selling, because that's really honestly all that you need right now. No matter where you are in your business, this is something that you do on repeat, because we always come back to reassess. Is our brand where we are? Are we talking to the right people, or is the message right? So with that brand, we're looking at who you're talking to, what the message is, what is it that you say when you walk into the room to capture the attention that you want from people, and really to bring people over to you, bring them to the other side. Number 2 is your offer. People are so stuck on what their offer should be, and they overcomplicate this. And so we work on what is the best offer, the offer that's going to help you build consistency in your business. That's going to take away the stress. That's totally aligned with you in the way that you are designed, in the way that you're meant to be here, in the way that you're meant to show up and help your people. Then how do we message that? And you're going to build a landing page. You get walked through this whole process. You build a landing page, and then the whole thing is live. And then you know what you're showing up to talk about, right? And then the third thing is the strategy, is how you're going to promote that offer, how you're going to gain visibility in a way that aligns for you. Not everyone should do video. Not everyone should do the socials. It's going to depend on you. And we have lots of ways that we dig into that. And the fourth thing is soul aligned selling. Selling is a form of coaching. So you have to know this. This is something that will completely transform how you bring into people into your world, how you enroll them. So there is an entire process around this. It's so neat and tidy that because we're focusing on these 4 areas, but we have a call every week, whether it's a live coaching call. We've got 2 live coaching calls a month where you get to ask anything that you want, and 2 co-working sessions a month where I'm on that call, and this is video off. It's about staying accountable, taking action, moving through the resistance, and you're going to get my eyes, my feedback on your work as well as that of your peers. You have a private group for questions, feedback, community support. There's so much in this. Go to the page, check it out. Hop on the waiting list. Worst is that, you decide later you're not going to do it, but we go live very soon in September. So I will be giving out more information about this. Just wanted to let you know about it now so you can hop on the waiting list, and I will see you there if this aligns for you.
An inner knowing of the soul. An anchored confidence that is solid. No fight must be had, for the battle has already been won within.